Thank you for holding this very important hearing. I'm no stranger to discrimination, hate speech, or threats of violence against my family and myself simply because of my identity. As a Black, visibly Muslim woman who came to this country as a refugee, I have dealt with racist, xenophobic, bigoted comments and threats all my life. Even being elected to offices hasn't stopped me from being othered. I've received vile remarks from the public as well as members of Congress. Sadly, I am just one of millions of Americans across this country who have experienced discrimination and attacks. In recent years, we've witnessed increased attacks on Asian Americans, immigrant communities, religious minorities in spaces, and that's only a fraction of violence. It is demoralizing to watch acts of such blatant racism and xenophobia all carried out with complete disregard for the humanity of others. Sadly, our government has a history of sanctioning such hatred and violence.
What happens when identity politics collides with the Constitution? You get chaos on the House floor, and a wake-up call for every American who still believes in accountability, not excuse. Yes. Welcome to Congress Chaos, where we cut through the noise, expose the truth, and defend the values this country was built on. Ilhan Omar claimed she was targeted for being a Muslim immigrant, but what really happened on the House floor told a very different stew. Why? Watch how two representatives stood their ground, defended American values, and reminded Washington what accountability really is. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and smash that like button, because here, we speak for the patriots who refuse to be SIL.
Gentleman reserves. Gentlelady from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to use that logic, well, then all those people should have just said sorry and we'd move on, right? But no, we don't do that. And let me tell you, I take a little bit of offense to what the hell is wrong with me. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with me. I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Again, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to hold the Constitution, and it's very simple. We really shouldn't even have this debate. If you break the law and you follow due process, there are consequences to your actions, even if you say sorry. So we can try all of the diversion tactics that we would like. It doesn't change the fact that someone broke the law and that someone should be held accountable. It is disappointing, Mr. Speaker, that their own party can't hold them accountable, that they have such hypocrisy. So with that, I yield 2 minutes to my friend from New York, Nicole Meliatakis.
Gentlelady is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you.
From New York is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've heard from my colleagues the reasons why the Representative Omar should be removed from this committee, but I feel like all the reasons have not just yet been stated, which is why I rise to add for the record. We've heard about the comments that were made regarding anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli views, but I rise to add to the record that as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I've sat there and heard the representative actually spew anti-American rhetoric as well. I've been in that committee room where the representative equates Israel and the United States to Hamas and the Taliban. Absolutely unacceptable for a member of that committee. I've also heard the representative equate that it is the United States' fault that there is turmoil in Venezuela. That is not because of the oppressive socialist and communism that has spread throughout Central and South America and Venezuela at the hands of the Maduro and Hugo Chavez regimes. That is unacceptable. And as a New York representative, to hear the representative belittle, to try to diminish the worst terrorist attack on United States soil on September 11, 2001, as some people did something, that is unacceptable as well. And I hold the same standard for this side of the aisle that I do the other. Because when another colleague on my side said something about 9/11, I also voted to have her removed from the Education Committee because I thought that was inappropriate. So I'm being consistent here, and I hope my colleagues will do the same to show that this is about consistency and accountability, because we should not have an individual with those views on the committee that is tasked with representing our country and our Congress to foreign nations. I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back.
And so, this week's congressional showdown wasn't just another political argument, it was a moment of truth. Representative Ilhan Omar stood up and claimed she was being targeted, not for what she did, but for who she is. She said, "I'm Muslim, I'm an immigrant, I'm from Africa. Is anyone surprised I'm being silenced?" But let's be honest, this wasn't about religion or race. It was about responsibility. It was about words, actions, and consequences. While Omar painted herself as the victim, Representatives Lisa McClain and Nicole Malatakis brought something the left seems to forget: the Constitution. McClain stood tall, calm, and firm. She said, "I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and I'm not apologizing for it." That's what leadership looks like. No excuses, no distractions. Just accountability. She reminded America that the law doesn't care about your background, it cares about your actions. If you break the law or disrespect this country, you face the consequences. That's how justice works. That's how freedom survives. Then Nicole Malatakis took the floor and didn't hold back. She laid out the record: Omar's past anti-American and anti-Israel remarks, her comments downplaying 9/11, and her willingness to blame the US for the world's problems. Malatakis didn't play the victim card. She played the truth card. And you could feel the tension shift. The argument wasn't about silencing anyone, it was about holding leaders accountable, regardless of skin color, religion, or political affiliation. And that's the key takeaway, patriots. This wasn't racism. It wasn't Islamophobia. It was about defending American values when too many in Congress have forgotten what those words even mean. When Omar said, "Power pushes back," she was right about one thing: pow. I did push back. But this time, power came from the Constitution, from truth, and from people who refused to let emotional manipulation rewrite what's right and wrong. This was more than a debate. It was a line in the sand. On one side, identity politics and endless excuses. On the other, the rule of law, national pride, and the oath every representative swore to uphold. And that's why what happened matters. Because when patriots speak up, when real Americans say enough, the truth wins. If you believe in law over labels, if you're tired of the victim narrative drowning out the voice of reason, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Congress Chaos for weekly breakdowns that the mainstream media won't touch. Let's keep holding Washington accountable, together. This is Congress Chaos, where the fight for America's integrity never stops.